before you have people on.
I'd like to call the special meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education dated October 12th, 2023 to order at 7 p.m. We'll stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Foote. Do I have a second on that motion? Mr. Showers. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Item number 3, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education and the regular meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education on September 13th, 2023. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Showers. Do I have a second? By Mr. Foote. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item number 4 on the agenda. This is going to be a presentation. On September 27th, one of our referees had a medical emergency on the field. The quick actions of our citizens that were in the stands, our employees and other employees of the town, their quick action is credited to saving this person's life. So at this time, we felt it was appropriate to recognize this. So I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Falcone to elaborate further on this.
I was not at the field that day, but I have a number of people that reached out to me, including my wife through a connection at Yale, of some really amazing people that we have in this town and in Thomaston that really stepped up on a day when we needed them. On September 27th, our official did have a medical crisis on the field to the point where he did collapse. And we had a number of people that were at the right place at the right time, and we are so fortunate. And I want to thank a number of individuals first, and then I'm going to ask Jim Dabowski to come up and to talk about our police and ambulance corps as well. I first want to start with the boys soccer coach. It was a boys middle school soccer game going on at Upper Fisher. I want to thank Dennis Fowler. There's not a coach that I would rather have dealing with a crisis situation than Dennis Fowler. Don't tell Mark that, but Dennis is a professional. He's coached kids for his whole life. He's been a part of athletics. He understands and gets it. He's also an amazing teacher in another district, unfortunately, and not ours. But he knows how to work with kids. But in that situation, you can't teach that. That is a crisis that you can't plan for. And what he did with our kids and our parents and the communication with administration that day, I can't thank you enough, Dennis, for your professionalism and what you did for our school community. I also like to thank Angie Suffrage. She's the first administrator that was on the scene up at that field. I want to thank the parents that went and got her with the defibrillator. Parents ran down to the Fisher Elementary School, and as everyone knows, it's a pretty long walk or run. They were knocking on the windows and the doors, and Angie grabbed the defibrillator, went right up to that field. And she brought a calm to the situation as much as you can. She brought a professionalism, and she let people and gave some direction, and I want to thank Angie for her leadership on that field that day. And then I have our two, and I'm going to call you heroes, because that's what you are. You saved the life of another man. And that is Beth Landrette from Plymouth and Taylor Larice from Thomaston. When I say the right people at the right time in the right place, Beth is a cardiac nurse at Yale New Haven Hospital in the ICU. And Taylor is a UConn medical student. And so when this individual went to the ground on the track, Beth was the first one out there doing CPR. She ripped up her legs. I only know that because my wife told me through a conversation with someone else who was out with her and was concerned about her because it looked like she was in some sort of car accident. But that's from the asphalt on the track. And she was doing CPR, she was calling for help, and then others stepped in to help in other ways. But the other person that gave CPR that day and supported Beth in that effort was Taylor, who stepped in. And it's telling because I talked to Taylor on the phone and I talked to Beth on the phone, and they both were appreciative that they were able to use what they learned to help save someone's life. But it's bigger than that. Because my wife is a nurse, and I've watched her go through this. The emotional toll it takes on someone when you're in that situation and after, it's incredible. So what you two individuals did in saving Dan's life that day, it's priceless. And I want to thank you. And with that, I'd like to call up Jim Dabowski to speak a little further. Chief of the Ambulance Corps. At the podium.
I'd also probably know Dr. Bonnie Jenkins, the president of the board of directors. First of all, I would like to thank Brian and Walt and the other people that got in touch with me with this. You know, especially for what you said or whatever. Everything that happened that day worked perfectly, okay? And it does not happen that often, okay? And the thing that I will start with is, on a good day in town, we don't do any ambulance calls, okay? Normally, we do 2 or 3, okay? This call was the 11th call in town that day, okay? And what had happened is my 2 people that were riding that Wednesday night, and I just want to give a shout out to them, Kelly Toll and Elijah Santiago, because they knew it was that busy that day. They were actually at the Ambulance Corps building at 4 p.m. rather than 6 p.m., okay? And the crew that we have on during the day was actually out doing a call when the second call came in. Okay, so instead of getting a mutual aid ambulance from either Bristol or Thomaston or Harwinton, depending on who was available, okay, we were able to be there within 5 minutes, okay, which is really good. I live fairly close to the school, and I was actually, the first call that we did that day was at 4:30 in the morning, and I did it, so I was kind of like laying on my couch trying to take a nap. And the radio went off, and I heard that it was for a possible cardiac arrest. The first word out of my mouth was, "Oh." I won't tell you what the second one was. But I got up, got my uniform on, went there. I also give credit to the people that were there because they were standing down at the end of the driveway, going up to the field, pointing for the vehicles to go up there. So they knew that was there. And when we got there, the police was there already. They were doing the work. They have all the equipment that they need to. And then we were able to get a paramedic from Bristol because their day wasn't as busy as ours. So we were able to get a Bristol medic car up here. And everything worked out perfectly. But also what I think the very, very perfect thing, because there was no time delay in the giving of care, okay, that's what saved a life. Okay? And that's what I think. So, on behalf of the Board of Ed, this is a certificate of recognition on behalf of the public schools, okay, and this is for Coach Dennis. Also, on behalf of the public schools, okay, here's a certificate of recognition to Beth, Okay, and also from the ambulance corps, the CPR safe pin. And also to Taylor, okay, for the Board of Ed, and also from the ambulance corps, the CPR safe pin.
Jim, I would like to thank you and your people for being there that day. I know that you're there every day. Every day, every night, the Plymouth Ambulance Corps is there. So we thank you.
Okay.
And Dr. Jenkins.
Also, the police department, who arrived fairly quickly with the defibrillator as well, so. we
Yes.
thank them.
Yep, definitely. Okay.
Mr. Fowler, did you want to say a few words?
I would. Thank you very much, Walt. I appreciate all of you for honoring the heroes here today, but I did want to share a few extra details of that incredible afternoon. What I shared with my boys' middle school team after that traumatic event at halftime of our game 2 weeks ago against rival Thomaston is the same message I want to relay here tonight. What happened that day was the very best of humanity. Good people, caring people, coming together to help save a stranger's life. Beth and Taylor were absolutely incredible. Their focus, professionalism, and expertise are the main reason why Mr. Densky's here tonight. But so many others helped. Beth took control for me right away. She's like, Dennis, I got it. Go get the AED. I said, we don't have an AED. So I immediately told my wife, Jenny, and another parent, Lauren Malone, to race down to Fisher to get it as fast as possible. They raced off. At the same time, parents like Kim Hotchkiss and her daughter, Lindsay Hotchkiss, were taking care of the boys, moving them far behind the goal so they didn't have to watch. I was so happy to have longtime Terryville resident Chet Scoville there. Okay, many of you know Chet. He was there watching his grandson play goalie and then turned into this incredible positive force. Taylor and Beth, I'm sure you'll remember Chet holding Mr. Densky's arm and saying out loud, Dan, you're going to make it. Don't leave us. Keep fighting as we all try to help him gain consciousness. And again, a final thank you to the quick work of the Plymouth police officers and the volunteer ambulance corps. Your professionalism was vital in reviving him and helping him get the medical help he needed. The Plymouth PD showed up within minutes with the life-saving AED machine that Beth and Taylor used so perfectly, just seconds before Miss Suffrage was there with the parents. I'm really excited to be here tonight, not only as a coach of a great group of players and parents, but as a proud citizen of Terryville. Our town and our rivals' town showed the absolute best that day, and it helped save a really great man's life. Thanks again, Beth and Taylor. And I'm so happy to give my former travel soccer coach a big hug tonight. Welcome home, Mr. Densky. Thank you.
With that said, I'd like to entertain a motion to recess briefly.
So moved.
Mr. Showers, do I have a second? All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're in recess. along. Item number 7 on the agenda, our student representatives. We'll start with Mr. Jacob Darrow.
So as a lot of you know, lately there's been a lot of rain on the weekends, and because of this, most of the band events have been canceled, especially, well, for the ones in the fall, which is a lot of them. And this includes the Mum Festival Parade in Bristol, the Big E Parade. The trip itself was not canceled, but we did not participate in the parade due to the rain, as well as UMass Band Day. However, Berkshire League was able to continue because it was inside, and that went well as a whole. But Mr. Keene wants to have another event to provide the experience that students missed from those events. And he's trying to determine what students would want and maybe formulate an idea to propose. And there's also Spirit Week next week in the school and a pep rally, and students seem to be very excited for this. I've seen more excitement than I have for probably any of the other pep rallies that we've had in the school. And it just seems, I've already hear about people planning out what they're gonna do next week and how they're gonna participate, and it's really good to see that it seems we've become more cohesive as a school since COVID. And the cell phone policy, it seems that many of the students are okay with it as a whole. They may not particularly like it, but they stick to it, and they almost seem to be better for it because they're paying attention more in class. And we are also trying to devise collection methods to gain input from all the students in the school, opposed to a select few. And we're thinking about monitored Google Forms or town hall style meetings for students to address concerns or possible problems or areas of improvement that they think that should be made better. And we think that these will help see problems in the school that maybe we as student council can't see ourselves, but should really strive to fix.
Well said, thank you. It's good to hear about the cell phone policy. So, thank you. Christian?
This last following Sunday, the seniors had a car wash to raise funds for any fundraisers, prom, etc. in the upcoming months. We raised over $1,000, and I'd like to, amongst the senior class, thank Mayor Kilduff and S.R. Johnson. Another thing is students are being very excited to applying to college, although with the CEC classes, some seniors feel unprepared and anxious as of right now. Hopefully that'll change within the next couple of months, but as of that's how we feel.
All right. And the car wash was at the ambulance corps,
Yes.
correct? All right, good. Thank you again to the ambulance corps, right, for providing a space. All right. Mark?
As we get into the fall season, this is typically the time for homecoming and dress shopping. I know my girlfriend has already bought at least 3. So currently homecoming is scheduled for November 3rd, and it's going to be a Starry Night theme. This is a great way to bring students together. It's awesome seeing the entire school here on one night and just party the night away, and the interspersing of students is great. Another thing the student council is trying to work on is a club fair. We've talked with many students that they feel like there's not a lot going on, or they don't feel like there's a lot going on. So providing direct communication and displaying certain extracurriculars will get students more excited, more happy to come to school and stay after school. I'd also like to mention girls soccer. I don't know the results of the game that just happened. I hope they won. But right now their record is 7-2, and they are on track, and I believe they have qualified for states. So if we'd like to do an acknowledgement for them, that's your guys' call, of course.
No, go ahead.
If we'd like to do an acknowledgement of them for this progress that they've made since last season, I think that'd be a great idea. And finally, the student council has come up with the idea of a possible CPR training. And as you mentioned with the event that happened 2 weeks ago, we believe this is very necessary. Currently it's in the works, and it kind of came to our attention because many 8th graders and even 7th graders at the time missed out due to COVID, and we think this would be very beneficial for upperclassmen and anybody that wants to get registered for it.
So you were originally trained by Dr. DJ when you guys were in middle school,
We were supposed to be.
and then COVID happened, so you got it.
They
again.
missed it.
Okay.
So I'm sure we can make that happen.
Okay.
I know she is very eager, always willing. So I'm sure we can work that out. And, you know, congratulations to the girls soccer team for their record so far. Wish them all the best of luck. How's that? All right. Thank you. All right. Item number 8 on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to item number 9 on the agenda, superintendent's update. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Superintendent Falcone.
September went out with kind of a bang. Obviously, we had the concern that happened on the soccer field. And then on September 29th, 2 days later, it's pouring rain out and the fire alarm goes off here at the high school. It was a faulty smoke detector in the gym that went off, but we didn't know that at the time. And so we had to evacuate the building in the pouring rain. Our faculty, staff, students were soaked. We're fortunate it was about 60 degrees out, but everyone was soaking wet. So while the fire department was here looking for what the cause was, we had to call an early dismissal. We were fortunate it happened around 1:30, but the unfortunate part is when it happens at that time, we also have to dismiss the middle school because of the logistics of getting the elementary kids out on time. So it kind of snowballed. But I would like to thank the fire department for their assistance with the situation. I'd also like to thank the bus company. They were basically on call and here within about a 15 to 20 minute period. All the buses were here to pick up the kids, which was phenomenal. So Sherry Hogue and the bus company, I really can't thank them enough. And then, of course, our faculty, parents, and students for their understanding with this situation and circumstance. The PSATs are going to be here at the high school, and those will be on Wednesday, October 25th. The PSATs are offered to all of the juniors in the entire junior class and any sophomores that are interested in taking them and registering for them. So that's happening on October 25th. Last year, about this time, I shared with you that the Connecticut State Department of Education approved 6 reading programs that we could be utilizing in kindergarten through grade 3. That number has increased to 7. That's the good news. But what we need to now do is we need to look at these programs and see which one we should adopt. The program we're currently using with our children, it's kind of piecemeal. We took a little phonics from here, we took a little of this from here, and a little of this from here. So investing in a new program is a very good idea. We put in a waiver for the first year, and it was strategic. We wanted other districts to try these out first because of the cost, the training, the stress, and everything else that goes into adopting a new program. And so this way, we can call in the companies, and this is what Kathleen's working on now. We could hear their presentation, and now we can go see these reading programs in action in other districts that have adopted them already. So holding off that year gives us some true feedback from teachers that are working with the programs. This is a big investment on our district's part. And so we will be keeping you up to date with regard to where we're going with our reading program at our board meetings. So that's where we are with that.
All right. May I interject, Mr. Falcone?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I think it's appropriate with everything that's going on with the reading programs in the state and the curriculum coordinator. I'd like to form an ad hoc curriculum committee. I spoke to a few people. Kelly Tilton, who's an educator and very well-versed in what's going on as far as the reading. Ms. Kalesa, who's also an educator for many years, and Ms. Lucian as well, who's a reading specialist. So I couldn't think of anybody better, and the curriculum coordinator will also be on the committee to work with that and, you know, come up with a solution.
So I think from there, Kathleen and I will talk, and we'll reach out to each of you, and we'll have conversations about like what it could look like, when we could meet, when we could all make it.
Sure.
Then talk about the process and have some of our coaches there, and we can go from there.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Currently, we're working with Ed Advance on some new dual enrollment courses here at the high school, and Kathleen's going to give us an update on that process.
So, dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment courses are classes that students take here at the high school, but for which they get both high school and college credit for. And in order for a class to be considered a concurrent enrollment class, it has to meet the requirements that the State Department of Ed sets for K-12 programs, and it also has to meet the accreditation requirements for the university from which we are creating an articulation agreement in terms of things like the curriculum, the assessments used, but also the qualifications of the teachers. And the qualifications of the teachers for a college program are different than the qualifications of a teacher for a program in K-12. The most common universities that schools partner with for this are the community college system and UConn. And currently at the high school, we have 3 courses that are aligned with the community college system, which are the accounting course, the personal finance course, and the intermediate algebra course. So students who are successful in those 3 courses will get credit for them both as high school students towards high school graduation, but then they'll also get college credit through Tunxus. What we have been working on most recently is at the end of last year, the State Department of Education announced that there were grant opportunities for districts who wanted to defray the cost of aligning additional courses with a university partner. And so what they put out there was grant money that would fund things like teacher training, books, supplies, and equipment that would allow districts to take courses and align them. And so we went through the courses at the high school, and we found that the culinary program was the program that we had the best chance of aligning as it currently exists. And so we applied for the grant, and we received $20,000 to help get the program to the point where it would meet the requirements for Naugatuck Valley Community College's culinary courses. So we're in the process of working with the state community college system to match up. We have several courses here, and they have a whole suite of courses at Naugatuck, and so right now we're working on matching the courses, which ones of ours match theirs. And then once we have that process done, what curriculum changes do we need to make so that the match actually gets us the articulation agreement, and then what are the supplies and training and stuff like that that will come with that process. The other piece of what we're doing is Ed Advance applied for the same grant that we did and also got that grant. And so they're working right now in the Northwest region to bring in more opportunities in tech ed, early childhood, and health sciences. So we have met with them twice so far to talk about things that we could do sort of like short term and things that might be longer term possibilities. And right now, the best possibilities for shorter term are expanding our tech program to include CAD, which would get kids 2 classes in CAD that would articulate with the community college system, and then the possibility of bringing in a CDA program, which is early childhood. And that would involve 3 classes that would be in our family consumer science department that would allow students to qualify for a child development associate's credential by the time they get to the end of it. So those are the 2 areas that we're focused on. They haven't fleshed out the health sciences piece quite as much, so that's one of those ones that is probably coming in the future when we have a little bit more information from them on where they want to go with that, but that is where we're headed at the moment, most likely for availability in the 25-26 school year.
Excellent.
Thank you. As you all know, we purchased a van through a special education grant last school year for our transition program in our career center. So Beth is going to give us an update on where we are with the van.
been a lengthy process. But the van is finally completely cleared to transport students. So we did not anticipate it taking this long, but the state's requiring school districts to jump through more hoops in order to be compliant with them, which I get. We're transferring children, so that makes sense. We have currently 2 licensed drivers that are ready to go and 1 who is in the process of getting her license. And all the drivers are required to attend a driving lesson with a trainer and attend monthly safety meetings. So All-Star has generously offered to include us in their safety meetings and do the training and driving lessons for us. We're in the process of setting that up now, so we're hoping within the next few weeks we'll be able to transport students in the van. I want to thank All-Star, Jim Mazon, and Robin Gudachowskis for all their work on this. This would not be happening unless they had gone through all of these steps, so I really appreciate it. And it's going to be a huge benefit for our transition students. They'll be able to go to a lot of different places locally, and we won't have to have that big school bus anymore. It'll be more flexible for us to be able to bring them to job opportunities.
And just to clarify, Cindy, I know you asked a question about the van in the past, and we were told it was cleared, and then our drivers weren't cleared. So the field trips that were put in to use the van, we had to get other alternate transportation because then we found they weren't cleared. And we did contact attorneys to make sure that we were following the right protocols because we were getting different answers from the transportation company All-Star, from DMV, and we just needed clarification on what it could be. So I told you we were using it for the field trips because I signed off on them, but then because the van was ready, but the people weren't ready. So we got kind of caught in that. So I apologize. Finally, the Harlem Wizards will be coming to town on October 16th. Play basketball against the Eli Terry staff and a number of Plymouth Public School staff from across the entire district. We currently have 25 faculty members playing in this game, and we have 14 people volunteering on our staff for that event. The game's going to take place at Eli Terry on October 16th at 6:30 p.m. As part of the Harlem Wizards event, the 2 elementary schools participated in something called WizFit. And it's a challenge, and they participated in physical fitness and character building challenges. And what it helped is it helped to raise money for the PTAs. And if they hit a certain benchmark, the kids got rewarded. So at Fisher Elementary School, the WizFit Challenge raised over $2,000 for their PTA, $4,000 total, $2,000 specific for their PTA. And the students were awarded with extra recess. At Plymouth Center, they raised $8,000, $4,000 for their PTA, and the students were rewarded with a sports day, a school-wide dance party, and a pie eating contest involving various faculty members, including Principal Loveland. So it was a great event, and these are the kind of events that really help shift and improve a culture and climate in schools. It connects the kids to the school, as your Spirit Week will, and it connects the parents as well. And so I want to thank the faculty, staff, and everyone involved in this, Mr. Vigliotti, Ms. Satow, everyone involved, the PTAs. This is a great event, and I can't wait for the game. And I hope that you all make that game on the 16th. It's going to be a great night for our district. And that's all I have.
Thank you. All right, item number 10 on the agenda, unfinished business. This will be the second reading and possible approval of the policy 5031. So with that said, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the modifications to policy 5031, students' use of private technology devices by students as submitted. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Showers. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Ms. Lucian. Any discussion on that? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item number 11 on the agenda, board member and committee reports, finance and operations. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Mr. Tenza.
Thanks, Walt. So as I said in my report, the budget for 23-24 continues to move along at expected rates. We're spending at similar rates to our previous 5 years. So I don't have any concerns with the budget at this point. Regarding facilities projects, I mentioned in there that we had met with an irrigation company and we are looking for specifications. I have received those specifications. I'm about 60% done with the RFP draft. When I finish that, I'll submit it to you, Walt, and Brian for review before we go forward with it, for release so that we can start to get bids on that. We did hear from the DEP that we can apply for a permit. It looks like the specs say that we only have to pump water at the rate of, don't quote me, have it, but I think it's 75 gallons per minute out of the pond. And with that, we can simply apply for a permit to do that. So all of that is starting to move now, now that we were able to get the specifications. Regarding food service, I did not provide you with a report this week. I included in the report the reasons why, but we did have a situation outside of our concern with a staff member, which kept me from completing that. But I did complete preliminary numbers today, and I really wasn't sure how I was going to report this to you, but for the month of September, August and September, the program did lose $60,000. Now, I did look into part of the reasons why. Told you I was concerned about revenue. We're about $30,000 behind in revenue from last year. We also had a $23,000 piece of equipment that we ordered last year that just came in this year. And then the last piece to that is because of the way the calendar falls and where we started the school year compared to what we did last year, there's an extra payroll in there. There's one extra payroll cycle. So when you add those up, that's about $67,000. What I want to assure you is we have a very healthy fund balance, so we're able to afford this startup loss. But the big thing, really concerned, is the revenue. It's just not there. The participation is not there where it's been. So it's going to be a struggle all year.
That's for basically all schools, though. Are gonna
That's
be
all
struggling.
schools. That's across
Yeah.
that's the district number.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Not here.
I'm talking
No.
about in the state.
Yeah, no, statewide, everybody is the same problems. I've been reporting on the encumbrances from last year. We still have $32,000 that are sitting out there that's not cleared. I just want to let you know that 5,000 of that is, almost 6,000 of that is for the shot clock requirements for the CIAC. We've had them on order since, I'm going to say March. They're not in because everybody's in the state has to order them. So we're waiting on that, and then the balance of that is some tech equipment that we're still waiting to come in that we ordered last year. So as soon as that comes in, we should be able to get those cleared. But those are really the only two items that are outstanding. And then last, I'd like to report that we were awarded a grant from the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Jamie and I submitted an application, I think back in April, for a security grant to upgrade all of the camera systems across all buildings. And we are one of the districts who was fortunate enough to be awarded. We put in a total budget of $250,350, and we have, the entire thing was approved. The state reimburses Plymouth at 71.43%, so they will cover $178,825,000 of it, leaving the district with the balance, which is about $71,000. But I would make that trade all day long if we can get that kind of money. So the challenge for me will be to figure out, working with Brian and my partners next to me, is where we're gonna find the $71,000 so we can do the whole project. Good news is it doesn't have to be fully expended until 2026, so we can spread it out over time. So, but it's exciting that we were awarded. I do know there were a lot of districts that did not get a penny, so that's great.
Good work. Is that it?
That's it,
All right.
unless there's questions.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
No, I just wondered, Matt, I know you did warn us very much about the food service.
Yep.
And it just boggles my mind that 50% reduction, and I know it's across the board. I guess my question is, are these kids eating, or are they bringing their lunch, or we don't know?
So what it looks like is that they are bringing, people are bringing lunch, right? So that is the case. But when I talk about a 50% reduction, I'm talking about 50% reduction from last year, where it went from free meals, where everybody was here,
Right.
to what it is today, where not everybody is a free meal. So those kids that don't qualify have to purchase. And then when you start to put that into the equation, it sort of changes things. The other piece is all of the monies that were in the reimbursable rates for the last couple of years has been somewhat reduced. There was a bunch of supplements because of COVID, and they've reduced them back to kind of normal standard dollars. So where we used to pick up some additional pieces. When I look back to 2018, 2019, we're in about the same place. The problem with being in the same place is the money stays the same, but the costs have all gone up. So it's gonna be a challenge, and we'll
Yeah, well,
weather
you
the
have
storm.
warned us
We'll
before,
weather
you
the
know,
storm.
and just
Yep.
when I looked at it, I said 50%, you know. It just boggled my mind only because a couple of weeks ago, I was just hungry, I ran into McDonald's, which I don't do probably once every 2 years. I saw a bunch of high school kids in there, and I'm saying, I looked at this here and I'm saying, I don't know if they're eating, but if they're in here, it's gonna cost me $12, $15 to eat. It'd be cheaper at the school, but I don't know if that's what it is. The other question I have is, excuse me, on the facilities, on the DEEP.
Yep.
When we acquired that land, it was a hassle. And I remember Mayor Cavello, myself, and Senator Colapicho at the time. And it was a wetland. It was wetlands, and we had to make some concessions. And you said the DEP has approved it. Is there any concessions that we know of for using that pond, that reservoir? 'Cause I don't know, maybe the town attorney can look it up or something. I don't know. But I remember Mayor Cavello had said, we're gonna put some concessions on it because we wanna make sure the kids can fish there all the time and so on.
Not that I know of, we can certainly look into it, but as far as I know.
Well,
there's-
let town attorney look into it. Because I think that's where we come from. But I know it was wetlands. So,
Yeah, it's wetlands because it's
Yeah.
a pond.
pardon me?
It's wetlands because it's a pond. So, yeah, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, free and clear. Okay, that's all my own questions. As far as money, budget looks good. You answered my one question for the $1,000. That's all I care for. Thank you.
Anybody else
Any
have
others?
anything for Mr. Tenza?
No, not me.
Anyone else? All right. Moving along, you saw the personnel report in your packet, which brings us to item number 12, public comment. Is there any public comment? All right, seeing none. Board liaison reports. Mr. Perugino, Harry S. Fisher Elementary School.
I had a previous engagement, so I couldn't make the meeting.
Okay. Mr. Zabushka, Plymouth Center.
There'll be trunk or treat at the Plymouth, or the Terryville Fairgrounds. It'll be on October 21st from 5:30 to 8:30. It'll be broken up into neighborhoods, but kids can canvass all of the neighborhoods, not just, if that's your neighborhood. There's going to be a haunted house in the cow barn. And there'll also be free baked goods under the barbecue shed. Then there'll be a Meadow Farms fundraiser, which starts at the end of October through mid-December. There's no exact dates, but those will be coming. And then there's a fall book fair on October 16th through the 20th, where you could purchase books and you could purchase the wish list that some of the teachers put in for books, if you so choose. That's it.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Florenziani.
At the middle school, everyone's gearing up for the Wizards game. I know the PTA is very excited. They have a lot of staff members that are playing. They got their own shirts. I saw that those came in. You'll be able to buy tickets at the door, so maybe it will rain that day, so all the sports are canceled and everyone can come. But I believe they're at almost 300 people have prepaid, and they can have 800 people, is it?
I don't know, that's the capacity of the middle school gym is larger than the high school gym.
Yeah.
I don't know what the capacity is, though. It's posted in the gym.
It's posted on the
But
wall.
we can easily add on quite a few more people that would like to come and watch the game. So,
Per the fire marshal.
so please, feel free to come out that night and buy your tickets at the door, buy them online preferably. The next PTA meeting will be October 25th. There is gonna be a virtual link that they send out or in person at 7 PM, at the school in the library.
Thank you. Ms. Colessa, the floor is yours.
Yes, I did not make the Terryville High School PTSA meeting, but I did go to the last Ed Advance meeting, which was the annual meeting, where we have all of the board of directors, and they invite superintendents and other board members, and it's just a bigger meeting where they go over their mission statement and, explain exactly what they do and how they help districts and things like that. I did get a copy of some of the handouts that they had. I don't know if I have enough for everybody, but we'll pass them around if you want one. The budget is on the back. The notable thing about their budget that's different than our budget is that they have a revenue side as well. Any money that they spend, they have to make. They have to be able to have income in order to spend money, just like a household budget. So, that's the difference between a RESC and a regular district, is that they have to generate their own income in order to provide the programming that they provide. And the director often talks about how he does not mind working in a deficit. So, again, their budget can go over, and, they just pay for it with the money that they have in the bank, however that works. But, yeah, it's very interesting to hear about how they run it, a little different than our districts. But if you have any questions about anything, everybody up at Advance is very open and, would be willing to talk to any of us about anything, if you have questions about anything. That's it.
Thank you very much. All right, which brings us to board comments. We'll start with Mr. Zabushka. You got any board comments?
Yep, I think the incident that happened on the soccer field, I think that's a tremendous thing, that they saved a life and everybody came together the way it was. That's a great thing. That's it.
Mr. Perugino.
Yeah, same comment, town working together, we have a lot, our town is full of volunteers. Volunteers and good people, very proud of that. And also, I'm glad to hear we got some grants. It's about time that we've got something. I know you have to work hard on them, and it's not an easy challenge to get a grant, but getting some grants over here, over there, it's great. Thank you for your hard work on the grants.
Ms. Florenziani.
Again, the same thing. I happen to know Beth, and the next day she said that she was still shooken up, and she does it for a living, she does this for a living, but when you're, watching your kid's soccer game, it's not, it's a totally different scene, and she, she's a great person to have been there. And Dr. DJ, when all of my kids were in 8th grade, they did the CPR, and she's always come to the PTA, and the PTA has always supported her CPR classes and gotten the kids their certificates and stuff like that. So Dr. DJ just said she's been doing it for 32 years.
Yeah.
So that's a great program to keep, and I hope you guys are able to do it this year, because I know my kids did it when they were in 8th grade, prior to COVID.
Ms. Lucian.
Basically what everybody else just said, but I'm glad that the two towns of Terryville and Thomaston came together and united to save a person's life.
And nothing to add, just a very moving night.
Mr. Foote.
Wish everybody good luck in the next election.
Oh, thanks.
Ms. Till.
Yeah, that was very emotional. I'm glad that the right people were in the right place at the right time. And also like to thank you for the opportunity to work on some reading stuff. It's a passion of mine, so I appreciate that opportunity.
Mr. Showers.
Well, I was wondering if we could set something up where any board members who are interested could take CPR.
Sure. I might know a
I haven't
CPR
taken-
instructor.
I haven't updated mine in at least 10 years.
Yeah, we could do that. Absolutely. All right, so I'll end with, you know, we do have amazing people in this town, as we've heard, we know that. But I don't think everybody realizes the hours of personal time that go into that. The fire department, the ambulance corps, 2 volunteer organizations, they spend an enormous amount of time training. The fire department's there every Monday night training. When they come on board, they have to go to school for about 4 months. 2 nights a week and every weekend they spend to learn, to volunteer in town. Mr. Perugino has been a long time firefighter in this town before, well, I was born, way before I was born.
Way before.
Way before I was born. But, you know, and here he is today. So, you know, they just can't go out there and perform. You know, they spend an enormous amount of time training. The ambulance corps does, and they have a bunch of dedicated people, and they're always looking for more dedicated people, the fire department and the ambulance corps. So if you're interested, get in touch with them. They'd be happy to have you. So that's all I have, and the dividends of that paid off, and we saw that tonight. So that's all I have. All right, the next regular meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education will be on Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the cafeteria at Taryville High School. All right. Item number 16. I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session at 8:04 p.m. to discuss facilities, inviting in Mr. Falcone, Superintendent, Mrs. Malillo, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Tenza, Business Manager. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Showers. Do I have a second on that motion? Mr. Foote. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We're in executive session.
We're gonna head down to the central office conference room, if that's okay? Yep. So there, these guys can clean up.